Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Meet the Faculty webinar for the Baking and Pastry Arts Management Diploma at Vancouver Island University. We're coming to you live from beautiful Nanaimo, British Columbia, Canada. I acknowledge that the VIU campus in Nanaimo is located on the traditional territory of the Snuneymuxw people, where we are grateful to live, learn, work, and play. I'll start out with a couple of housekeeping items today. First of all, please note that we are recording our session and streaming live on Facebook today. So if you do have questions for us throughout the presentation, please don't enter your personal information. Rather, later on, we'll give you information on how to contact us privately, and you can set up a one-on-one meeting with a recruiter where they can answer your questions about your specific situation. During the presentation, we ask that you hold your questions because we think a lot of your questions will be answered by the presentation. And if you still have questions following that, we would like for you to enter them into the Q&A feature down next to the chat there, and we'll get to your questions following the presentation. Thank you so much. And right now, I invite the people who are attending our webinar today to enter your country into the chat. We love to hear where everyone is joining us from. My name is Leanne Spasnik. I am the Manager of International Communication and Recruitment at VIU. And we'll have a presentation from our faculty today, followed by a panel discussion by students, which is going to be really interesting. And after that, we'll take your questions and respond to as many of those as we can. So I'll invite Rita to join us now. Hi, Rita, would you like to introduce yourself?
I would. Hi, everyone. My name is Rita Gower. I'm the chair of the Culinary and Baking departments at Vancouver Island University. And I'm also the developer of the program that we're here to talk to you today about, the Baking and Pastry Arts Management Diploma.
We're really excited to have this program. It's brand new for us, and we think that there are just so many job opportunities that are going to come out of this program. So really interested to tell everyone more about it today.
Absolutely, and we're really excited to share the program with you, and we're very excited about the expansion of our one-year certificate program into a diploma. It's a big step for us, and we've worked really hard on it, and we're really excited about the program. We think it has a lot to offer to the people that decide to come and take it.
I just wanted to note, Rita, we have people joining us today in Bangladesh. We have Anita from Indonesia. Hi, Anita. And someone from Philippines, Peru, Sita from Indonesia. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Fantastic. Welcome to all of you. I have one of our former baking students actually lives in the Philippines. She runs a little bakery there. I see all her pictures on Facebook all the time. She does beautiful stuff. So let's get started. So the Baking and Pastry Arts Management Diploma is kind of gives you two advantages here. Number one, you're going to learn to become a really good baker. And number two, you're going to take those baking skills and go and take some business courses in the second year. They're going to help you to maybe move a little bit higher up the chain, looking towards management positions that are going to increase your earning potential. The types of things that you might be able to do, maybe you want to start your own business, maybe you want to manage in a bigger sort of business or factory or grocery store chain, or maybe you want to work in one of the high-end hotels or resorts. A little bit about the program. It's 2 years long. The first year is the certificate program, and that's where all the baking happens. The second year is the business management part of it, as well as some additional baking courses. It's a full-time 2-year program. It's cohort-based, so you will be with the same people for the whole 2 years. We do have co-ops. We have 2 10-week co-ops, one at the end of the first year and another at the end of the second year. Baking is a Red Seal trade, and that means that you get, if you are able to work all the hours and do all the technical training, you are recognized as being a Red Seal baker. And by taking our program, you earn 1,740 hours towards the Baker Red Seal. you need 5,400 to get the Red Seal certification. You also get year 1 and 2 technical training towards the Baker Red Seal, and you would need to do one other 4-week period of technical training in order to complete those qualifications. If you decide that you want to pursue even more education because you haven't had enough after 2 years, you can transfer to the 3rd year of the Bachelor of Hospitality Management program here at VIU after completing a bridging semester. So the program outline kind of looks like this. So in year 1, there are not very many courses. There's 3 courses in the fall semester, Yeast 1, Pastry 1, and the Co-op Prep course. And in the spring semester, we have Yeast 2, Pastry 2, and Capstone. And of course, in the intersession or the summertime, there's the 10-week co-op. In year 2, you've got 6 courses. So you're doing an advanced pastry course, you're doing an introduction to culinary course, as well as some of the management courses. And in the spring semester, it's all management courses plus another advanced pastry course, followed by the second 10-week co-op. And I believe that Amy is going to play a video for us of a couple of minutes of little clips and shots from our baking program, so you can actually see what it looks like. Wow.
Who's
Are you
hungry?
I'm hungry.
I saw our signature dessert there. Nanaimo is very famous worldwide for a dessert called Nanaimo bars, and I saw them practicing that one there.
That's right. That's right. And you saw them doing some Christmas baking. We sold so much Christmas baking this year. We put our ads out on Facebook and Instagram, and we were just swamped. We couldn't believe it.
Yeah, some of my family members got your program baking for Christmas.
Yeah, it was beautiful stuff, nice products, beautifully packaged. And right here in this photograph, you can see our wood-fired brick oven, and you saw a couple of clips of that in the video. So we do have an outdoor wood-fired brick oven that we use every day. The students learn how to build the fire, how to maintain the fire, and we bake bread and pizzas in it and bagels. So that's something unusual about our program. A lot of programs don't have that. So, going on a little bit about the co-op here. So as I said, there's 2 terms. So your co-op at the end of the first year would be baking related. So you would take those baking skills that you learned in the program and you'd head out to a placement somewhere, and the co-op prep person will work with you to help you decide, what's my real interest here? Because there's so many directions you can go with baking. Do I want to be a cake decorator? Do I want to make bread and buns and bagels and croissants? Do I want to make fine pastry? Do I want to work in a chocolate shop? Do I want to work in a bakery? Maybe I want to go to a nice resort in Banff for the Lake Louise or Whistler. Maybe I want to work in a hotel. Like, there's just a lot of ways that you can go, and you'll get some help with sort of trying to figure out, what's your dream? What's your passion? What would you like to pursue? So that's the first co-op, 10 weeks long, and of course it's paid. The second co-op, it will be focused more on trying to get sort of a junior management position in a similar sort of place where you're still going to be doing some baking, but hopefully also you're going to be getting some mentoring and sort of putting those management skills that you've been working on learning to work for you. Okay, the next slide, Amy. So the admission requirements, the general trades admission requirements for VIU, which you can look up on the website. Basically, you just have to be in good health and be able to lift 20 kilos and be used to walking around a lot on your feet. So it's nothing too difficult. English 12 or equivalent, a minimum C+ in Foundations of Math 11, Pre-Calculus 11 or equivalent. Successful completion of assessment testing, submission of a Food Safe Level 1 certificate. And that's a short course that you can take here in Canada that just teaches anybody who works in the restaurant industry or the food industry how to handle food safely so that we don't accidentally poison anybody or make anyone sick. Okay, it's very easy to do here in Canada and very quick. You would need an interview with the department chair, that's me at the moment, and then a personal profile. And a personal profile is just something we ask you to write about yourself and what your goals and hopes and dreams are for wanting to take the program.
And I'll just add to that, Rita, that international students also have to meet our English language requirements for undergraduate programs. So that's the equivalent of IELTS 6.5, no band below 6. And we accept a variety of tests. So you can see those test options on the admissions page on our website. And Ami, I wonder if you would pop that into the chat for everyone. Thank you.
Great, we'll have the next slide, Ami. Okay, so a little bit more about the career opportunities. Obviously, you could be a baker. That's one of the main goals here. Baking entrepreneurship. So a lot of our students, even without that second year of business courses, quite a few of them are moving into opening their own sort of little baking business of some sort. Some of them have full-fledged bakeries, perhaps a bakery cafe where they're serving some meals and coffee and so on. Pastry shops and chocolate shops. Perhaps you want to start small and be selling at local farmers markets and then branch out into something bigger. Maybe you want to have a bakery food truck. There's lots of opportunities out there. Baking management. So there are larger bakeries that will have a lot of employees, make a lot of high volume product who are going to need managers. In-store bakeries will always require a baking manager. And then large sort of manufacturers where they might be making thousands and thousands of items a day, they also will require managers. Perhaps if you go into the pastry part of the baking course, maybe you want to become a pastry chef in a hotel. Restaurant and resort management are other options that might be open to you. And then what I was saying before about starting small, you know, the gig, we call it the gig economy here, where you're just kind of working for yourself and, you know, starting small, because it's a big step to, you know, go out and lease a storefront and hire people to work for you and buy all the equipment and take out a loan. So it's good to sort of start small and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. So that's what I mean by the gig economy. The next slide. For tuition, you can go to the International Cost Calculator. Application deadline, there really isn't a deadline at this point. That may change in the future, but we take applications, you know, right up to midsummer. The next program start date will be August 30th, 2021, and we're accepting applications until July 31st. And it's a good idea to apply early. It takes a little while to get an international application through the cogs and the wheels, so to speak. And so the earlier you start, the sooner you're assured of a seat.
And international students would also need to leave them to allow themselves enough time to submit their study permit application. There are delays there this year because of COVID. So we recommend that you get your application in as soon as possible.
Yeah, and then there's that travel piece as well.
That's right.
Yeah. One other thing I just wanted to mention before I turn this over to the students to talk about things is our field school, which we do every 2 years. We go to Belgium and France for 16 days. We usually take about 35 to 40 students and 6 or 7 faculty. One of our panel members, Chelsea, went on our very first trip back in 2012. So maybe I'll have a few words to say about that. You can see we go to Brussels for 5 days, to Lille, which is a city in the north of France, for a day, and Paris for 8 days. So the big draw in Paris is Europan, which is one of the biggest industry baking shows in the world. We go to Cocoa Berry Chocolate Factory in Belgium, and we get a tour and a workshop there. We do 2 days of hands-on workshops in Parados in Brussels, which is a huge bakery supply company with fabulous pastry chefs and bakers. And, you know, it's such a treat for the instructors to see stuff that we haven't seen before, right? We love it too. And then we go to Le Safra Yeast. That's one of the biggest yeast companies in the world. And they host us for a day of workshops. When we get to Paris, you know, we spend 3 or 4 days at Europan, but we also go on 3 days of walking tours of the pastry shops and bakeries of Paris. And we see some amazing stuff. Of course, there's always time for some sightseeing or walking tours. We're constantly walking past one monument or another, but you also get 2 or 3 free days to really go out and be a tourist. And one other thing that we added to our last trip was a food and wine pairing seminar at that very famous cooking school, Le Cordon Bleu, which was absolutely fabulous. So great trip and well attended. And I don't think anyone has ever said that they didn't have the best time ever. Okay.
Looks amazing. I'd like to go on that field school, Rita.
Yeah, everybody wants to go. So why come to VIU? I mean, VIU is a beautiful place. It's on a hill. You look out over the city down to the ocean and across to Vancouver and the mountains. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. This shot here is the harbor in downtown Nanaimo. Another great reason to come to our program is the small class sizes. So if you're a student coming from another culture, another country, it's a big, scary step. And I always admire all the international students we have here on campus for being brave enough to come to a new country. And we try to be really supportive. And I think, you know, having small size classes helps for, you know, a quicker adjustment to feeling at home and feeling comfortable in the new country. Teaching excellence. So we are not a research university as such. We're a teaching university, and that means that our instructors actually have to know how to teach. They're not just sort of professors who are, busy on a research grant who have to, fulfill a little bit of teaching obligation. We actually have to know how to teach. Our pastry and baking instructors have worked all over the world. They have high-level chocolate, sugar, cake decorating skills, and they're master bread bakers. The campus, as I said, is gorgeous, beautiful. The city of Nanaimo is small, but it has all the amenities. It has a population of about 92,000 people. And, if you like nature, we've got it for you. And you can go out hiking, you can go surfing, you can go swimming, you name it, we can provide it. Skiing.
The thing about Nanaimo is that the nature is so close to our doorsteps here, right? It's not like a city where you need to drive an hour or two outside of town to reach it. We have hiking trails right behind our residences on campus. There's a lake nearby. The harbor front that you see there is about a 5 or 10 minute bus ride or a 30 to 40 minute walk away from our campus, and you can see it from campus. So everything is so close by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but still the amenities are there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, best of both worlds. I'm never
Absolutely.
leaving. All right, well, that's it for me.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
I'll invite Chelsea and Leah to turn on their cameras and microphones now. Hi, welcome. Could I ask both of you to introduce yourselves and your experience in the program? Chelsea, you graduated a number of years ago and have had some work experience already. Could you start and could you tell us about the program and then your pathway since then?
Yeah, so I graduated about 12 years ago from the program. I had done some Bachelor of Science courses, was pretty familiar with the cafeteria and the baked goods they made. So when the Bachelor of Science didn't really work out, I applied for the bake program, got in. It was incredible. I mean, the facilities you get to use, the instructors were incredible. The Paris trip was just kind of the cherry on top of the whole experience. I think too, when you get to go with a group, with a university, you get access to a lot of places that you would normally never get to go as a tourist. And I think just the opportunities that came after I left VIU, I kind of thought going into it, I'll get a job in a bake shop, but there was opportunities for travel, putting out recipes in cookbooks, and just the networking you get to do, meeting people and seeing what they're working on. So my experience there was great. And I also feel like VIU is a serious lifelong learning partner. Like once you leave, they still want to know how you're doing. They want you to come back. They want you to visit. They want to hear about your experiences. So for me, it was an amazing experience.
And then what's your career path been since you graduated?
I fell in love with the bread. That's been my passion since I started, lamination as well. When I did my co-op, I was actually fortunate enough that they were looking for a baker. So the day after our graduation ceremony, I was up at 5 a.m. for my first baking job. And 6 months later, they actually asked me to be the head pastry chef. And I stayed there for almost 5 years until I had my son. But bread has definitely been what keeps me getting up early.
Wonderful, thank you. And Leah, you're a current student, right? Can you tell us about your experience in the program?
Yeah, so I'm a current student. I just started this past August, and I ended up in the baking program. It was a bit of a career switch for me. I had been in the environmental industry, and then COVID happened, and I also became a mom like a few weeks before the pandemic happened. So my life just all of a sudden went through a huge transition, and I decided on a career switch and decided to go into baking. So here I am, moved my family to Nanaimo, and I'm one of those masked faces that you saw in the video, and it's been a fantastic experience for me. Yeah.
And do you have an idea yet what you plan to do with the program once you've graduated?
Yeah. Well, my hope is to open a bakery of my own. So I have been doing a little bit of independent study on the side to gain the business skills that everyone who's going to take this program, that's going to be your second year. So that's like an amazing opportunity. I hope to open a bakery of my own one day with a Scandinavian theme here on Vancouver Island. So fingers crossed.
So what are some of those products that you would be making?
Oh, like Norwegian waffles and lefse and open face sandwiches and like Danish rye bread, all the fun Scandinavian products that people maybe haven't heard of, but will fall in love with for sure.
Wonderful. And Chelsea told us a little bit about her co-ops. I guess your first co-op is coming up yet.
Yeah, I haven't done the co-op yet per se, but I have been going through the co-op courses, and the instructor has been really supportive, and she's given us really relevant activities to do to prepare us for the co-op, and you know, how to interview effectively, how to reformulate your CV so that it's geared towards baking. It's been really useful, and I'm really looking forward to the co-op portion.
Wonderful. And Chelsea and Leah, if I could ask both of you, why did you choose VIU to study for your baking studies? Chelsea?
The campus, I mean, I was very familiar with it. The campus there is beautiful. The facilities that you have access to, the support, the student union, the library. I just mean, there were just so many boxes that got checked for me. And of course, the view from the Discovery Room, our on-campus restaurant, is pretty good too.
Mm-hmm. We have a fine dining restaurant right on campus where our students train, and the food there it's one of the best restaurants in Nanaimo, and with the best view, I might add. How about you, Leah? What made you choose VIU?
For me, it was location. I was already living on Vancouver Island, and things were a little tumultuous at the time, so I couldn't manage like a big move. So I just thought, this is perfect. There's a nearby university offering the program I want. I just hopped right in.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us. So we may have questions for you in the Q&A. So we may come back to you in a minute here. For everyone watching, if you do have questions, please enter them into the Q&A and we'll get to as many as we can. But first, I'd like to invite our admissions officer for international for the program to join us, Elham.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elham Ahundi. I'm the admission officer for this program for all international applicants.
Hi, Elham. Thanks for joining us. Do you have any tips for students as they submit their application for this program? How can that process be smooth for them, and how can they maximize their application for success?
Right. I would recommend to start by going through our website, because all the details regarding the program requirements are mentioned on the website. So I do recommend to go through it to ensure that they have a good understanding about the admission requirements, to ensure that they meet them before submitting their application. If they have any questions about any equivalency, they are welcome to email us to ask for, because they are coming from different countries, so educational systems are different. So if they want to know if they are meeting, for example, our English 12 or Math 11 requirements, feel free to contact us. But I would just recommend to start by going through the admission requirements to ensure they have a good understanding about the program requirements before submission.
And we do have questions about the math requirement in the chat. So if they don't have the math yet, could you let them know some of the options that they have? What would you suggest for students, Elham, if they don't have the math just yet?
Sure. So if they apply for the diploma program and they don't have the math requirements, we offer them the certificate program, which has similar admission requirements, but we don't require math for the baking certificate. So they can join our baking certificate and upgrade their math through our ABE Adult Basic Education Program. And if they can upgrade the math and meet the requirements, and of course we have seats available for year 2, Upon the successful completion of year 1, they can start year 2. So it's one of the options to start with the certificate, upgrade the math, and then enter year 2.
Thank you. And then we also have a requirement for food safe, and they can attain that after arrival, correct?
It depends when they arrive. Usually we require all the students to submit it usually 2 weeks before the start of the program, before the semester starts. So when they are accepted to the program, we send them all this required information, like the website, how they can submit it, when is the deadline. So it happens after their acceptance, but they require, it's one of the admission requirements. They require to have it before the classes start, but the deadline is usually within 2 weeks before the start.
Rita, do you have any more information on that as it pertains to international students?
Yeah, so I mean, the food safe
Thank you.
requirement is there. Really, students should not enter the kitchen without it. That's sort of how kitchens work in Canada. So there are online courses that you can take that are offered through the government of BC. If you go to their website, you can find an online course to take. However, you do need to take the exam in person, right? So you can take the course online, but you need to do the exam face-to-face. And that could be arranged, you know, it's basically, it takes maybe an hour to write the exam. So that would be something that you could arrange to do once the student arrived in Canada, but you could have taken all the coursework prior online.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the chat now, and I want to welcome, we've got someone here from Mexico City. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Our next question is for Rita. Do I need to be in Canada to take the diploma, or is there an online option available?
No, there's no online option available. You need to be, so certainly for the first year, you need to be here in person, because we do 20 hours of face-to-face hands-on baking per week. And we do some online theory. The second year, there may be some more online options, but again, there are 2 baking courses and a culinary course that will require you to be here face-to-face.
Thank you. We're coming close to the end of our questions here, so please, if you have any further questions, enter them now into the Q&A feature. Oh, I've got a couple more coming in. That's great. The next question, I'll take this question. I would like to know, how do you house international students? So we have several options available for our international students. Some students choose to come in through our homestay program, where they can stay with a Canadian family. That there are options available with and without meals there. And that's a great way to get settled into Canadian culture and get settled into the city. Another one that's very popular with international students is our on-campus residence. And I imagine if you're having early mornings in the baking program, it would be really handy to be able to roll out of bed and walk to class. We have lots of information available on those options on our website. And we also have some supports available for students who wish to live off campus. And so again, you can check our website for that. We work with a third-party website where you can check for listings. Also, we suggest students who want to live off campus can download our Student Union app, and that's a great way to connect with other students and maybe find roommates before you arrive. What kind of proof of English language proficiency do we need? Elham, could I ask you to answer that question, please?
Yes, VIU accepts different types of English proficiency tests, such as IELTS, TOEFL, Cambridge, Pearson. It's all listed on the website. So they can take one of those tests, or if they have taken English courses like English composition or literature at the college or university level. So if they have 6 credits of English literature or composition at the college level with the minimum grade of C or above, they can submit a proof of that. We will for sure take it to into the consideration, but the most common ones are IELTS or TOEFL, or they can join our ESL program in case they want to complete their English course here.
And I have another question for you, Elham, from Veronica. She
Yeah.
says, hi, as an international applicant, I have completed my bachelor and postgraduate degree. Do I need to submit these certificates and my high school diploma?
Yes, while we acknowledge that they have completed a higher level of education, we require them to submit high school transcripts or diploma because the program asks for high school requirements. However, if they want to, for example, satisfy the math requirements with a college or university level, it has a different process. So for undergrad programs, for students who have a bachelor or higher level of education, we recommend them to submit high school transcript and graduation diploma. And those certificates, I assume she's referring to food safe certificate. Yes, she still needs to submit that.
Thank you. Our next question is regarding daycare. Do we have daycare inside campus? We have a daycare center called Malaspina Daycare. I wonder, Chelsea or Leah, you both have children. Have either of you used the daycare center on campus?
My son has actually gone there for almost 2.5 years. He'll be starting proper kindergarten in September. It's wonderful. The teachers they have working there are super caring. And not to mention, they also do co-ops with the early education program as well. It's a really nice place, big outside play area. And I believe the ages they accept are from 2.5 until about 5.
Great, thank you. For Rita, we have a question from, I'm sorry, I don't see the full name there, ELP. When will your next school year start? Because I'll graduate senior high school by August.
Yeah, the date of our next intake is going to be August 30th, 2021. And after that, it would be a year later, August something, 2022.
Thank you. And we have another question from Veronica specifically about where she can get the food safe certificate. So that was taking courses online and then writing an exam upon arrival, is that correct?
Yeah, as soon as you write the exam, it gets marked as soon as you write it, and the instructor will give you a temporary certificate, which you can use and submit as proof, and they will send you a permanent certificate a couple weeks later in the mail, which you would also give a copy of to International. So basically, as soon as you write that exam, you'll get proof of having the certificate.
Okay, and is there an age limit for studying in the program?
17 is the age limit for the certificate program.
Okay, and then if you're wondering about a gap in your studies, there is no limitation as far as we've got students of all ages, from people who have just graduated from high school on through into their 20s, 30s, 40s, and above. There literally are people of all ages on our campus, so there's no requirement there.
We've had students in our baking program who are 17 and still in high school, dual credit students, and in the same program we've had students who are 65 or 70.
Mm-hmm. It can be a lifelong passion, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think, we do have a couple of more questions here. Is VIU safe from COVID-19? So I can talk about that a little bit. We have met or surpassed all of our public health requirements for COVID-19. And so our university, our primary focus is on keeping our community safe, our staff and our students. And so to date, we haven't had a COVID case on campus at all. We'll cross our fingers on that and hope that it continues to go well, but we have very strong precautions in place on campus. So anyone coming to campus has to check in on our safety app and do a screening. And then we have social distancing and masks required in all of our areas on campus that are currently open. And so we are doing everything possible to keep our community safe. And I would say that Vancouver Island generally is doing better with COVID-19 than a lot of places around the world. Our cases are lower here. So generally, I know that I myself, I'm very cautious when I'm going out in the community wearing a mask and so on, but I do feel quite safe here. Is there a dormitory or boarding house for students from outside Canada? We do have residences, yes. And that's a very popular place for our international students to stay. It helps them to meet friends and build some community here on arrival. And that's really important for students. It's a great Canadian experience to be living with other students at VIU. And do we have a lot of international students? I can address that one as well. We have incredible diversity on our campus. In an average year, we have over 90 countries represented in our student body. And I would say that the internationalization on our campus and the diversity itself is a really important part of our campus culture. We really celebrate it here, and it's Nanaimo, the community, is a very welcoming community for international students. Does anyone else have any thoughts on that, about the international students on campus? Rita?
Yeah, I'm also chair of the culinary program, and I would say a third to a half of our students are from another country. There are almost as many international students as there are domestic students. And the culinary program has been hugely popular with international students because, like the baking diploma, it goes on to a second year, the culinary management diploma. And yeah, so, you know, we have students from India, from China, from Vietnam, from Central America. Yeah, I think that, and India. So yeah, and that's been going on for years now. I would say starting in about 2008, we started to see more and more and more international students in the culinary program.
And they have a chance to share their cultures and learn from each other as well.
Absolutely. Yep. It's a big happy family.
Yeah. That comes to the end of our questions. I'd like to thank everyone who joined us here today. Rita Gower, thank you so much for presenting for us today. Chelsea and Leah joining us as our alumni and student today. Thank you so much for your contributions, and best of luck in your program, Leah, and in your career, Chelsea. Elham from International Admissions, thank you so much. If you submit an application to this program, it will go to Elham. I'd like to thank Ami in the background for your help. And most of all, thank you all for attending. If you have further questions, please email us at worldviu@viu.ca. We have 5 global offices and recruiters here in Nanaimo as well to assist you, so we can get you the help you need, often in native languages and in your time zone. Please join us on our social media platforms. We are at WorldVIU, and I'll note for you that we have weekly Insta Live sessions right now where we have students talking to other students about topics like working in Nanaimo and life on campus, and a lot of different topics. You can submit questions live to them during those sessions, so very interesting. Thank you so much. We hope to see you on our beautiful campus very soon. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.